Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasishtha in Upasham Prakarana, section 16 continues, and nothing new. Same you have been hearing. I wandered far, far from home. Your aham has gone into mayhem. How to bring back that aham free of mayhem. Aham without the word process. That's a profound topic. And Yoga Vasishtha, this stage is giving teachings at a very high level, giving you a very broad view of the state of enlightenment. But that becomes very important for sadhana. You must have clearer understanding of the goal. If your goal is defined by your sick mind, just to give a sample of sick mind. Mind has imagined lots of ghosts and goblins. When it comes to spirituality, mind has developed lots of ideas of rakshasas, asuras. And yogis with psychic powers can make you fly, take you back to seven incarnations, as well as all types of things. Lots of imaginations, lots of things. All that's, I call it mayhem. So without going into those details, here is a straightforward, highlighted movement. A yogi asserts within himself. The topic is going towards the practice of affirmation. Sanskrit word for affirmation is nishchaya. Someone is knocking at your door. You make a nishchaya. Create an affirmation that the person who is knocking is a positive person, not a negative type of personality. And then you prepare, put your chairs and couches, open the door. I'm joking in a simple way. Similarly, allow your mind to understand what is the state of enlightenment. And from unconscious, a response comes. That's the knocking. But now we have to ascertain, is the knocking the right one? In other words, when you ask a question, many imaginations come in your mind. So every imagination about liberation is not healthy. Everyone feels misery and hears the words of salvation, liberation, heaven, kingdom of heaven. But now mind has a totally confused picture about what that heaven is. Don't stay in confusion, start creating an affirmation that has a clear connection with the truth. That affirmation movement automatically emerges if you begin to do your sadhana. Clearer the mind, greater is your glimpse of the higher movement. Confuse the mind, your glimpse of the higher movement has been dumped. But don't wait for all that. In daily life, as you firstly seek a state of mind that becomes relaxed, and that you do go through all types of exercises, yoga exercises, pranayam, and most important, doing your duties in a right way. Bring 4 yogas in harmony in your daily life. Go on doing that. It may not become perfect, but that should be your intention. If you go on doing it, then when their mind becomes calm, automatically your expectation of the higher level doesn't come to you in a confused manner. It comes in a healthy manner. And you will not go wrong if you pursue it. As you pursue it, your clarity will increase more and more. That's the subtle process. A yogi asserts within himself the body, mind, senses, and the realities of the world are sustained by me. First, try to understand of so many things that your mind is after. Simple mathematical question. Which is the most important of all things your mind is after? Which is the nucleus? And for answer, you don't have to go to Badri Kedar or go after various places. Answer is, I am. You are the one. If you are not raising the question, all the millions of things that your mind gathers, if you don't put your finger on your iPad, all the details don't manifest on it. But the finger that puts on the iPad, that finger is yourself. And who am I, in brief? I am, simple what I'm leading you to understand, the I am of your personality. That is your focus. Without it, you can't exist. Without it, all your relation with the world will have no meaning. So ultimately, what is the most lovable by you? I am. Now, therefore, determine what that I am is. Look into your body, from the toes to the head. What matches with your I am? I'm joking, but the idea to understand that Nowhere you find I am in your body, nor in your pranas, vital forces, nor in your mind and senses. All these are instruments. Your I am remains untouched by all this when you go to sleep. All this moves away, but your I am has not gone away. The real I am is there. It is not stating its existence. Look at it. Look at me. I'm lying on my bed. The real I am is there. And you are perfectly cozy and comfortable with it. The same I am now becomes confused when you wake up. That I am is a reflection of that I am towards which you have come closer in sleep. But now the I am that dominates is the big I am blended with illusion. When you see a reflected sun, you must realize it's a blend of big sun and the illusory reflection. So that's the predicament of every individual. Is this. Ghat mein. In every personality, there is Jivatma, soul. That soul is like a reflected self in the waters of the mind. And for that particular soul in the waters of the mind, these teachings are given. Let that soul, blended with the mind, use that mind for practicing affirmation. So first stage, understand the body, mind, senses, and all the realities of the world are sustained by that I am. And though you are addicted to negative I am, the ego I am, use the same addiction. Instead of ego, switch your attention to real I am. But in the beginning, your attention is switched in the form of a kind of a deceptive process, or in the form of a lie. First your mind says, how can I be God, Brahman? But to push that and repeat a mantra from the scripture. Aham Brahmasmi. Prajnanam Brahma. I am Shuddhosi. I'm pure. I'm enlightened. Start these words swirling within your mind, even though you don't have proper understanding. But while you are doing, as I said, if mind has become increasingly purified, the state doesn't stay passive. It begins to open the windows, subtle windows as it were. And suddenly you begin to switch from verbal affirmation to a mental awareness, and from there to a profound experience. And that whole process is important. Otherwise, your mind is addicted to sustaining countless lies. What lies before your eyes? The statement itself tells you the answer. Lies. I am one with them. They are one with me. Now, how can that you can figure out? Simple. Think of your dream. While dreaming, everything is as real in your dream as in your waking state. As long as you are dreaming. How big your dream world? There's no limit. It's the same world. How many things are there? Millions and trillions. How many problems do you have? Countless. Now come to another level. Wake up and realize all that you envisioned in your dream was yourself, your own consciousness. What you call in waking state, this is me. That me of yours, or that I of yours, extended itself in your dream. Everything in your dream, you. Suppose in your dream itself you develop that awareness. Sometimes it does happen. That is just a dream. And still you are in dream. And then the dream becomes more of a fun, called Leela. And in that funny state, you begin to realize how funny it is. In dream, there's beautiful sky, wonderful colors. But what's funny about it? I am. Ocean is surging, beautiful mountains shimmering like gold. But what's funny? I am. Beautiful birds are flying, swan going up to a rainbow. How wonderful. And what's that? I am. I am the rainbow. I am that bird flying. All that is not a difficult task. You understand it simple. It's not a made-up story. All your dream is yourself. Now, using that simile of dream, try to understand the waking state. Exactly, it is the same phenomenon. The I am in you has been led into a delusional vision. And all that you are experiencing, me, mine, countless personalities, a long history, complicated science, the Earth planet, sun, Milky Way, where are countless suns blazing. How vast is all this? But no matter how vast, I am. I am pure awareness is bringing about all this experience through your simple iPad that sits in your skull. and spreads out through your nerves. It don't look so beautiful either. It's just a technical equipment. The I am is behind this whole equipment. Can shut out this iPad completely. Shutting it out, that's liberation. If you are constantly sitting with the iPad, you are not yourself. You have to shut it out. Having negated the ego sense that is related to the body and objects of the world, the yogi meditates upon pure I am, negation and affirmation. Bring out into your understanding what is the not self and what is the self. The understanding that operates is called Viveka Buddhi, discriminative intellect, Vivek. Led by Vivek, and the Vivek movement becomes more clearer as you practice meditation day by day. A yogi meditates upon the pure I am that sustains the three states, waking, dream, deep sleep. All are experienced by I am. That I am sustains the three states, wherein all names and forms are negated. Mind creates names and forms, countless thought waves, projections. Mind becomes the basis of three lokas: practical reality, the world of sentiments, and the realm of understanding. These are three planes. And they, behind all the three planes, the reality, absolute reality, is the divine self. In the divine self, all the three planes disappear. The three planes are not practical reality, they are not essential reality. To give you a simple way to understand, if you are looking at a cinema show and you are deeply involved with the story, in that story you are seeing time, space, causation, past, present, future, and countless things. But behind all that you are seeing is not reality. And while you are seeing them, you are also seeing the screen. The screen, without a screen, you cannot see all those things. But then there is ignorance that doesn't make you understand that whatever you are seeing that is constantly changing is not the real one. What's behind all the changing drama, that's the real. That real is absolutely untouched by all the stories that are projected in the show. So with that understanding, yogi meditates upon the pure I am, the calm state of mind creates an affirmation. Nothing exists, nothing belongs to me. I'm neither body nor mind, nor intellect nor ego. I am the Absolute Self. I'm Parabrahman. Or you can go through stages. I'm Satchidananda. When that revelation takes place, the vasanas of the heart are renounced, even like the dispersal of clouds by the wind. Vasanas, subtle desires that exist in your subconscious, unconscious. It is vasana that refracts your vision. How do you experience day by day, hour after hour? It depends upon what type of vasana is operating through your mind. If vasanas are not there, they are burnt up, then all the cinema show has stopped. All the projection-based experience stopped. That's what again and again told about the bhava pratyaya, pratyaya bhava. All your experiences are projection-based. Projection-based experience is called bhava pratyaya. And when the projection itself moves away, then pratyaya bhava, absence of projection. Presence of projection, absence of projection. These two are very advanced terminology to understand subtlety about the truth of the world process. And as I have introduced to you before, even while you are experiencing the projections, you start understanding all the cinema show that's going on. Putting it in a more simple way, first stage, you see the faces of people full of blood, etc., in vampire stories. Instead of being shaken, I try to enjoy the artistry behind how tomato juice has become blood, and how actors are acting, showing tremendous sorrow and grief, but deep down they are getting salary for it. So even though there is a presence of projection, yet that projection is losing its charm, losing its intricacy and illusion. Called dhyaya vasana tyag. Your dhyaya becomes what is truth. Asatoma, sadgavaya. All this is asat. Sat. Everything that is asat has a sat behind it. And when this process culminates, it's called Jnaya Vasana Tyag. You have attained the goal. Jnaya means you have attained jnana. And that jnana is like fire. All vasanas, speaking allegorically, become burnt up. Dagdha vasana. The first stage, you purify your vasana, may create a channel until you reach a state, dagdha. Your vasana is completely burnt up. Again, in another simple illustration, you look up to the sky and dark cloud has obscured the sun. Now the same dark cloud creates a little channel for the sun to pass through. And when that process starts, dhyaya vasana tyaga has started. The cloud itself begins to enjoy in the process of melting. Dhyaya vasana. And when it has become so transparent that it is no longer hindering the vision of the sun, then jnaya vasana. Two stages. First, you are allowing the light to pass through the cloud. And then as an effect of light flowing through the cloud and cloud gradually diminishing its humidity and whatever, until it becomes just soft fibers, as it were, and the sun passes through it. Jnaya vasana. So when you come to the level of jnaya vasana, then you are a jivan mukta, liberated sage. And fortunately, unfortunately, that's your last body. He who is unaffected by pleasure and pain is not tossed by currents of attachment and hatred. This is the description of that sthita prajna state, enlightened state. Unaffected by pleasure and pain. Unaffected term has to be understood. Pleasure and pain you will experience, but you will not be affected. A tree will experience shaking, but it will not be broken from the root. The root state continues to hold the entire tree, and shaking nourishes the tree. The same shaking that can break you with the spiritual enlightenment, they simply make you a dance. The world becomes leela, because you can leela it up. You can swallow it. Your dream becomes a leela. Once you realize it is a dream, it just takes a few more minutes and you swallow it without belching. You wake up. So that's the word leela means. So unaffected by pleasure and pain, raga, dvesha, likes and dislikes, who is balanced in desirable as well as undesirable conditions of life. Vipatti, sampatti, adverse situation and prosperous situation. The idea, if prosperity is there and you are happy, there's no harm in that, that's perfectly normal. But your happiness should not be a delusional experience within your heart. That happiness is not the final state. That happiness is pointing its finger to find perennial, absolute happiness. That in itself is not the goal. So you are not deluded by the idea that you have attained. You have fulfilled your dream. Something happened. For a long time you expected some type of money to come in or something to secure your personality, and you get it. Then suddenly people become so intoxicated by that prosperity. They feel this is the greatest. But you have to always understand that is not. Anything that you gain as a result of your karma, karmic fruit, is transient. No matter how wonderful a dream, where you are eating nothing but cream. Yet the dream is nothing. Such a yogi has succeeded in the practice of jnaya vasana tyag. He has become liberated. When a yogi is not affected by provocative conditions that give rise to elation and grief, fear and anger, desire and frustration, then he becomes liberated. Now, that's the characteristic of liberation. By gaining that insight, what it means in your daily life, there is always alternate situations come in life. Joy and sorrow, elation and grief, fear, and sometimes very fearless situation, anger and love, desire and its fulfillment. All these continue in your life. But while they continue, they are giving you challenge. Are you really moving towards God realization? Are you really understanding I am that? That's what nature is trying to teach you, that lesson, I am that. Guided by God. So what nature does, presents things that are very lovable to you at one time, and then moves them away, changes things that are frustrating. Now, if you are really interested in I am that, you should not jump up and start shouting. You should view changing situations with a balanced mind. That's all that I'm trying to say. That is your most important movement. Instead of constantly keeping your mind focused on where can I go, where I can have darshan of God. Keep that also in your heart. That's perfectly okay. But that will come automatically as you advance. But in daily life, Godward movement is coming every moment for you. How you are facing your adverse situation. Figure that out. Adverse situation may mean you are sick. Now, how are you facing it? Instead of becoming frustrated, go after a Vaidya, a physician. Understand what caused you to develop sickness. Go into the science, find the causes, see the progressive remedies that you can adopt. Use your head instead of beating your head. And while doing that, of course, understand that the divine in you, your reality is your three blended reality. You are an instrument of God, you are a ray of God, you are the God. So whichever level pleases you, understand that, keeping that in your mind, allowing you to have surrender in 3 stages. I am an instrument. God is the one doing it. That gives you 1 stage of surrender. I am just a ray radiating. God is a reality. Next stage. Final stage, when self-surrender is completely, no question, self has been surrendered. The real self shines. So while facing challenges in life, that internal Godward surrender, and thereby act of grace. To the degree you surrender, to that degree a divine miracle operates in your life, called grace. The same action that you are putting to remedy your problem, now grace creates a miracle in it. Section 17 focused on affirmations. What type of affirmation you must promote through a mind that is calm. Affirmations that promote liberation. Sage Vasishtha continued, O Rama, those who attain disembodied liberation cannot be described by words. In other words, Videha Mukta is not the topic. Just stay Sadeha Mukta. Liberation in life. That's the goal being presented to you. So don't ask, when will I be out of my body? When a sage performs his daily duties without indulging in the pleasures of the senses, without being excited by subtle desires, he is called Jivan Mukta. Now, what you are being given? In order to reach that state, first point, daily duties. Qualified by his own daily duties, not others' duties. Swadharma. And I have already explained, but you have big difficulty, simple understanding, whatever duty you are doing, understand behind that God's hand is there. So you are as if pleasing God by doing your duty the best way you can. And so, not pleasing your ego, pleasing God. So every work that you do is a part of your sadhana. Advanced student does not calculate that my time for sadhana is so little, what can I do? I must go somewhere else where I can have 8 hours of sadhana. That's kindergarten sadhana. If you are developed Karma Yoga, spirit of Karma Yoga, all actions that you do, that's again is a divine ideal. Any ideal is not captured immediately, it is a progressive. You go on injecting in your mind until it becomes more and more perfect. So whatever duty is there, considered a part of yoga. Even attending on your own body, and whatever duty, cleaning the house, so bringing smallest little things, but then your duty can also extend to how can you help others. Being good, doing good. But all this you expand on the basis of being dear to God. And likewise, next reality within every individual is bhavana, feeling. What type of feeling you are entertaining in spite of all worries and anxieties? Consider them like waves, and your feeling is a lake. So turn to the lake, don't go after those little things. Let them be, don't fight against them. But go into the lake without mistake. And stay calm. And find what is happening. Suddenly you see the sky entering into the lake. In spite of all those little waves and problems, the entire lake and all the waves move away from you. Expansion beyond imagination. So that type of feeling movement, bhavana movement, that's called bhakti. You turn your sentiments and feelings in that direction. That's called bhakti yoga. Turn your willing process of the mind that is always trying to will. And greater the strength of will, you feel very happy. That strength of will, healthy strength of will means will to attain liberation. So turn your will level towards Drishavrata, the profound resolve to attain liberation. And then your understanding, intellect level, that knows things. Intellectually you know countless things, but it doesn't really matter. Intellectual knowledge. Here again you can make a differentiation. Countless things you know which are not purposeful. But if your knowledge becomes focused on knowing the teachings of the scriptures under good guidance, called indirect knowledge. Now the same intellect is promoting indirect knowledge and giving a channel for realizing what you learn indirectly. Shravana, manana, listening, reflection, and so forth. So all the four yogas blend in your daily life. Your action into karma yoga, your feeling into bhakti yoga, willing process, raja yoga, and understanding process, rational process. Try to know that process into jnana yoga. Altogether, sampurna yoga. Craving that grows on the basis of illusory notion that the world is real is the basis of involvement in the world process. But when the mental process is freed of this illusory notion of the reality of the world, it sustains practical needs of life without causing bondage. What's being said? That when you understand the world as illusion, absolutely, profoundly understand it, you are a Jivan Mukta. As a Jivan Mukta, you are still in your body, and your bodily existence is sustained by prarabdha karma, karmic law. Body belongs to karmic law. At soul level, you are liberated. That is not restricted by your body. But as long as body is there, every individual, enlightened sage, continues with his prarabdha karma, and karma operates in three ways. Ichha prarabdha. Prarabdha karma that is creating very positive atmosphere. Anichha prarabdha. Prarabdha karma that is creating tragic situations. You can see when with Rama and Krishna, all saints and sages, these situations in life are not just simply because they are enlightened and God loves them. In spite of God loving them, they are led into all types of more horrible situations than masses generally have. And they end up with developing increasing love of God. So, aniccha prarabdha. Parecha prarabdha, it's kind of a common sense. The disciples of the Guru or the sage, they create their program and suddenly give the notice to the Guru. The Guru had no idea, he had no plan for it. Called parecha prarabdha. The prarabdha will operate in these three ways. But no matter how all this happens, in a deeper level, aham brahmasmi. And the whole world is mithya. The world doesn't exist. I am neither body, mind, I am the Absolute. That truth awareness is unshaken. Meditations that give rise to the surging waves of craving for the objects of the world create bondage. While the same that free one from all forms of dependence on the objects of the world promote liberation. O Rama, the subtle desires that arise in the heart, such as may I attain this object, is called Trishna. And it ramifies itself into various forms of illusion. But when this craving is utterly negated, and the heart does not go out after any object, whether imagined or real, then one is said to have attained liberation in life. Therefore, O Rama, renounce the desire for the variable conditions in life. Abandon the desire for illusory pleasures and bring about the negation of mind's flow towards the objects of the world. Thus doing, you will abide in the self, the boundless ocean of bliss. O Rama, the objects do not belong to you, nor you belong to the objects. In fact, from a spiritual point of view, these objects do not exist independent of yourself, nor do you exist separated from the illusory objects. The self alone is. Just like with the dream, see? You alone are. And all in dream you are running after so many things. But you are never separated from any object of your dream. And that's the situation with the entire universe and yourself. And the simple source, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma. Next point, all this is Brahma. Next point, I am all this. These are called affirmations, and more tomorrow. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om.